Josie.
And I'm Vicky, and today we're talking about movies.
I love movies. I love media.
Same.
I have a Regal membership, so I talk about it all the time. And one of our friends the other day asked me if I had the AMC membership. No, she goes, "Oh, you're always going to the movies. I'd love to go with you one day." And then she goes, "You have the AMC membership, right?" And I said, "Stop talking to me." I said, "Do not." I'm like, "You can't ask me to come to the movies with me and then name the wrong chain. That's crazy."
That's pretty funny.
But I have that, and I also have a membership with A24, which is where my T-shirt's from. But that one is like I get like little zines from it every now and then, and I get like a ticket for like their opening movies too. So I do enjoy that. But movies, media, I see a trailer, I'm gonna be sad. I can talk shit about a movie the entire time, and I'm gonna still give it like 3 stars or above on Letterboxd. Like,
that's funny. I also really love movies. I feel like when I was younger, like that was one of the things that I used to do on the weekends. I didn't have like many friends when I was younger, so I hung out with like my mom and my sister a lot, and like every single weekend we would be at the movies. And like whenever we were like at home, we were like a very much like movie family. So like if we went grocery shopping, they would like buy like a DVD, like one of those $1 DVDs, and we'd watch it as a family. So like I feel like I just grew up like more on TV shows than movies.
Yeah.
And that's transferred to like my adult life. So like I don't go to the movies as much as Jocelyn. I'm trying to get up there. But I freaking love going to the movies. Like just the whole experience of it. Yeah. It's wonderful.
I also grew up in a movie family. Like at least every other night we were watching a movie before going to bed.
Yeah.
And my dad was so funny because he'd be like, we would be having our dinner conversations and he'd be like, "Yeah, have you guys ever seen this movie?" And I'm like, "We spend a lot of time with you. What are you talking about? Have you ever seen this movie?" And then when we'd be like, "No," he'd be like, "Oh, shocked." I'm like, when would you expect us to watch this?
My dad does the same thing. He's like, "What have you guys been doing? Oh my God." And it's like, you are the one that's shown us all these movies.
And then we would have to watch it later that night.
Yeah.
So when Netflix came out, when Netflix Redbox, we were just like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. My parents were big, like renting those little like DVDs. Yeah. And my grandpa was like a professional like movie bootlegger. Any movie that you wanted, he had. He was like he had all of them.
My parents have this big binder of like a bunch of bootleg movies. I need to take it from. They're not watching them. Like all my little Sailor Moon discs are on there. I'm gonna take that from them next time I see them for sure. But yeah, I think around. I got like my Regal membership. I think in like late 2021.
Nice.
And I was like, okay, like I want something to do where I can go by myself. This was an effort for me to like get out and do more things by myself and not feel like weird about it. So that's when I started doing like my movie pass and I started going to the movies a little bit more. Lately I've been on a different kick where like I'll like go to the movies and I'll tell like friends, I'll be like, "Hey, I'm gonna go watch this. If you want to come with me, let me know." But I'm gonna see it. But I think it's something nice that you can do with people or by yourself.
Yeah. I feel like I always thought of movies as being a communal thing until like you started telling me that you would go to the movies like a lot by yourself. And then my brother-in-law goes to movies by himself. Like my sister will be like working or like studying or something like that. And he'll just leave and go watch a movie and then come back and be like all excited about it and tell like my sister like the whole plot of it. And it's like, you just left and you watched a movie like that. I don't know. It's peak autonomy for me.
So in high school, my first job was working at a movie theater. My parents ate that up because they were like, "Oh, you get free movies?" Because like I would get free movies, and then my parents could go in and watch free movies like anytime too. So they would just like show up, and then the managers would be like, "Hey, Jocelyn, your family's here again." And I'm like, "What if I wanted to watch the movie? What if I wanted to watch the movie?"
Jocelyn's your family's here again. That's so funny. funny.
And then I would get so upset, and then they'd be like, "But you can join us afterward." I'm like, "That's not the point. I want to watch the movie. Where is my invite?"
Yeah, that's funny.
No, but we really loved movies, and I still really like them. I think my taste in movies have changed a
Mm,
lot because I do really love horror movies. I think those are really good for
yeah.
sure.
I'm not the biggest horror movie fan. I think I like suspense and like drama a little more,
Hmm.
but any of those like body horror,
Yeah.
like gore type of things, I'm not really into.
Mm.
Like Sixth Sense, I don't know, that's like more of a suspense movie.
Yeah.
That's along the lines of like
Yeah.
what I'm more into.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I for
Mm.
me in horror
In
movies.
terms of horror movies
Yeah.
specifically.
I don't like super demonic movies, I will say. I think the last like demonic-ish movie that I saw was the one with Nicolas Cage. Oh, that man really is coming into himself, I will say.
In his old age, he's really finding his
his
stride.
stride, yeah. And maybe he's always been on that. I don't know, because I know people who are very like big fans of Nicolas Cage like all the time, and I'm like, no, I'm recently getting on that train. Like, um,
You didn't watch any of his National
Long
Treasure?
Legs. Oh, I hate National Treasure.
It's Nicolas Cage.
I didn't like that man before.
Maybe you'll watch him now and you'll gain a greater appreciation for the
We'll
movie
see.
that is National Treasure and
We'll see.
its sequels.
We'll see. We'll see. I really liked him in Long Legs. I will like that. That was the last demonic movie that I saw.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna be watching Sinners soon.
Mm.
And me and Vicky were talking about this earlier, where I found out it
Yeah.
is a vampire movie, not a demonic movie. So I'm like, okay, my mind can rest now. But when I saw that trailer, I thought it was so cool. To like see, um, like black characters being portrayed as supernatural stuff and not
Hmm.
like just supernatural and like horror movies. I thought that was very cool because I feel like horror movies just tend to have a lot of white people in them. So I think it's
Yeah.
cool.
And with the trope that the black character always
It
dies
dies
first.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like I didn't get to take any like movie oriented classes in college, but I did take like a because we went to DePaul and you have to take a religion class, like it's required when you're at DePaul. So the one that I took was like about religious symbolism in media.
Media. There's
Um,
so much.
there's so much and it was so interesting, but like just like along that vein of just like thinking of like symbolism and tropes and movies, like it's just so interesting. And like once you get the beats of certain genres, it's so fun to like break them down in the movies and like when you see them. And it's just, yeah, I love movies. I love like adaptions of movies. Like it's fun like watching all the different kinds of Jane Eyre movies there are and
Yeah.
see directors individual like takes on them.
Yeah.
Like my favorite Jane Eyre movie is the one that I think is in 2011, has Mia, the I don't know how to say her last name,
Mm.
but she's the woman that played Alice in Alice in Wonderland, the one that had Anne Hathaway in it.
Ah, okay, okay.
She is Jane Eyre in that movie, and it's like very like gothic and like dreamy and cloudy, and it's one
Yeah.
of my favorite movies. And it's just so wonderful. So I love adaptions. I love
Mm.
like looking at the themes of a movie. Um, kind of diverting topics, but still staying on
Yeah.
the same thing. Something that Jocelyn and I have talked about is like the choices we make when we watch movies,
Yeah.
and how I'm very intentional about like what I watch and what I like commit my view to. um when you're very much like, not you'll watch anything,
I will
but
watch
like
anything. I will watch anything.
but like if it seems interesting you'll watch it.
Yeah, yeah. If it seems interesting, I'll watch it because I do really believe, like, I do see your point in, like, your view and what you consume should have meaning and purpose, but also sometimes I'm like, movies are fun and silly and like,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
one of my favorite silly movies, it probably wasn't silly in its time, but I do think it's silly, but I love it, is Children of the Corn.
That is funny.
You're gonna tell me people pulled up to this town and they couldn't drive away?
I don't think I've ever seen Children of the Corn.
No, it's
No.
it's 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 a slasher gory kind of movie, but
Mm-hmm.
it's so old that you're kind of like, okay, lol.
It's
There's blood
funny.
coming out, look, clearly syrup. Okay.
That's pretty funny.
um, and I'm gonna bring it up because I want you to talk about it. But last week you were telling me about a vampire movie. Yeah,
Yeah. Like campy vampire movie. We looked it up and we found the name. What was the freaking name? Was it just called Dracula?
I think it might have been.
It's just like a really campy movie and it's really silly and just like makes fun of all the vampire tropes that are in movies. It's along the same lines if anyone has ever seen Spaceballs, which is also one of my favorite movies, and it's a parody of Star Wars. Specifically Empire Strikes Back, the first Spaceballs is a parody of Empire Strikes Back. And I think it's really funny because I've always said that I'm a Star Wars fan purely because I like the aesthetic of the Star Wars
Yeah.
movies, but I hadn't even ever seen any of them, but I had seen all of the Spaceballs movies.
What?
And then I recently watched the movie that it's parodying, and it's so similar. It's at the point where it doesn't even feel like a parody. Like the size of the helmets of the stormtroopers in Spaceballs, I thought was a gross exaggeration, and it's not. They made the helmets of the space troopers huge in that movie. Yeah, so that one, Princess Bride, that's one of my favorite
Yeah.
movies. Like, I just love a movie that is so deeply unserious, but in the movie, they're very serious about it. Like, very like Nacho Libre vibes.
I've never seen Nacho Libre, but I do think I need to watch it. But I
You
think that's why
do.
I like horror movies, like Scream. You guys tell me that's not ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I recently saw Hard Eyes, and that one I think that
Yeah.
one was intentionally ridiculous though
Yeah.
too. But I love a horror ridiculous movie. I do like the ones that make you. I do like the ones that make you think a little bit. And my brother has the habit, like I'll recommend him a movie. He's like, I probably won't like it because you liked it. Or like sometimes he'll watch a movie and he'll be like, oh yeah, I didn't like it, but that probably means you'll like it. And I'm like, leave me alone.
It's funny because I like a dichotomy, so I like those movies, but I like those movies that are like really sad and don't have like an actual meaning and just like depress you the whole time. And then you think that something meaningful is going to happen at the end and it closes itself off, but it doesn't. It's just still sad at the end. I love those kinds of
I
movies.
love movies that are just like a snippet of life. There's no beginning, no
Yeah,
end. It just,
those.
yeah.
I love those. There's one movie, it's called Last Night, it has Keira Knightley in it, and I
uh-huh.
feel like that's one of those movies. That is also one of my favorite movies. Hmm. And there's this one um, French movie about this French prostitute. It's pretty old, and it's also like a snippet of life, and it's also really interesting. So yeah.
One of my favorite movies is I don't like this man a whole lot, Jim Carrey. Not his biggest fan,
Okay.
but Truman Show. Truman Show.
I recently saw that
Really?
movie.
Thoughts? Don't break my heart, Vicky.
I liked it. I liked it. I had never seen it before. I just decided one day to watch it just like by
Yeah.
myself. I'd never seen it.
And if I don't see you again, good night, good morning, whatever he says.
Uh-huh.
That's one of my favorite movies. I just think it's so funny how the whole time they're just like marketing,
Yeah.
and this
Yeah.
man's just like la la la, it's my life. And whenever something goes wrong in in like my date in like my life, I'm always like, you know what? This is the way my producers set it up.
Just how the story's supposed to be.
Yeah. And I think that's why I really like movies and stuff like that because like it pulls you away from like worst thing could be happening to me, and I'm like, yeah, lol, Truman Show. It just
It's
pulls you
funny.
away from like your own mind. So that's why I don't give a lot of thought. That's why I will watch anything.
I was gonna say something about like the reason why I'm very intentional with like my view, but it's truly only because there's like some movies that I don't agree with like the director or I don't agree with like the content of the movie because it's not like representative of the community that it's supposed to represent. And then I won't watch it. But like I love garbage movies. I love garbage like TV shows. I don't think it's that serious. But like if there's an opportunity in this like big obscenely gross world for me to like make a tiny little what feels like insignificant stand against something, then I'll try
You'll
my
do it.
best.
Okay.
Yeah.
I respect that. I respect that. The actual act of going to the movies is very fun to me because while I do have my Regal membership and I do prefer to go there, I do like going to the smaller local theaters. Like if you've ever been to the Davis Theater, like that's so fun.
I haven't. Is that there's the Logan Theater in
I
Logan
haven't been
Square.
in the Logan Theater
That
yet.
one's really beautiful. They
Yeah.
like restored it. The seats I'm a big hipped one. So it's a little tight for like those who have like some curves, but it's really beautiful. And they have like a really
Yeah.
nice like bar. And I think they have like a trivia night or something like that.
I need to check that out. I've only been to the Davis Theater and the Music Box, but I think it's just I have this habit of looking up the theaters that I've been to because obviously they used to be they were used for something else and now they're used for like a to show movies,
Hmm.
and I think it's just like so cool like seeing the history of the spaces that you're in.
Yeah.
Um, like oh yeah, people used to do like full out plays here. Like that's so cool to me.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Has like working in a movie theater ruined, obviously it hasn't, but like has it impacted your like experience going to the movies now as someone who like knows the behind the scenes process of like helping to set up a movie theater?
In like big chain movie theaters, like the one I worked at, we were always told that money comes in from concessions, which is why concessions are always like really high.
Mhm.
But also, like most movie theaters don't check anymore, so I'm like, oh. I do feel like the movie theater. I say this all the time. Like you know, how people are like really strong about their libraries dying. They're like, don't let the library die. That's me with the movie theater. I'm like, don't let the movie theater die. Keep going to the movies.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't think it's really like I don't think there's too much to it with working at a movie theater. I will say my pants smelled like butter permanently, so I had to throw them out after I stopped working there.
It's funny.
So yeah, yeah. Don't be rude to your concession workers.
I just say that because I feel like sometimes you work somewhere and then you'll like never eat at that restaurant again because you're like I'm tired of the smell of this or I know how they cook their food so I'm never going to do that. And it's interesting that's not what happened to you.
Mm-mm. No, no, no. I left it there.
That's fair. I'm
when I'm
glad you still love
retired,
it.
when I'm retired, and I'm like 80 years old, I'm just gonna be out there checking your ticket.
Another part-time movie theater job.
Yeah.
That's fair. But yeah, I love this conversation. We kind of started talking about it, what, like 2 weeks ago now?
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we made this its whole like own topic, and probably something that we can revisit again.
Yeah.
Maybe even making it its own like unique segment to like talk about the movie that we saw recently and
Yeah.
like analyze it. That could be a lot of fun.
That would be a lot of fun. Okay.
So ideas.